Tech shares are soaring. Square shares have been at an all-time high. Do you think tech is overvalued or overweight?
Well, I'm not an economist, so I don't know how to answer that question. I mean, I think, we live in a market, and the market's decided to value it at this particular thing, and that'll always have ebb and flows. And it's not something we control. What we control is, do people want to use what we're building? And our job is to make sure that that answer is yes, and they want to use it so much that they can't help but talk about it with people that ask for recommendations about what tool should I use. I'm just starting a business, or I'm trying to get out of this nasty contract. Where should I go? And that's the thing we control, and that's the thing we focus on. So
you must have a keen insight into the health of the U.S. and global consumer. Where do you see people spending and not spending? And what's your confidence?
We see people going to our sellers, and we see people purchasing, and those trends continue to be positive. And I think the great thing about Square's business is it's non-discretionary. So everything else can fade away, but you have to be able to make the sale. I feel really good about what we're seeing in the economy, and also how we will continue to thrive and support that.
There have been a number of reports about sexual harassment in the tech industry. People have lost their jobs. It's renewed concern about the lack of women in tech. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, it's something is in a situation that we absolutely have to provide a lot more attention to. And our focus has really always been on inclusion first, and making sure that we're building an organization, an environment, and a company that people feel like they belong, and people feel like they can contribute to, and they feel a part of. And you can say that, but we also need to make sure that it's not just an environment that people belong, but they can actually help contribute to decision making, and to really make sure that they continue to help, they help own our outcome.
The gap between Silicon Valley and President Trump still seems quite large. What role do tech companies play, and leaders like you, Jack Dorsey, in closing that gap?
I don't think there's any difference in the role tech companies play or individuals like me play. I think the most important thing is to have an open conversation and to really speak up. And if we can't speak up, and if we can't be open and transparent about how we feel about policy shifts, we're going to move backwards as a country and as a world. So that's my role, that's our company's role, that's our industry's role, but it's every citizen in this country's role as well. I'm certainly going to use my role and my experience to inform what I believe is right, and what I believe is necessary.
As somebody who runs a company that moves a lot of money around, how concerned are you about not just economic, but political uncertainty right now?
Well, I mean, every entrepreneur and leader has to deal with uncertainty, and we just have to be comfortable with that. And the economic uncertainty that people talk about is not something I necessarily feel on a daily basis to affect my decision making. What I am concerned with is the economic disparity that we're seeing, not just in this country, but around the world. And our goal as a company, and we'll have a very small part, but it's a part nonetheless, is to continue to provide tools for people to engage in the economy and participate in the economy. And we're going to do our best to do that. So that's what we're focused on, trying to help fix. We're not going to do it alone, but we're going to have a loud voice as we do.
So last question, how does that impact where Square goes next? You've been expanding abroad. Where to next?
Well, we want to go everywhere. We want to be a tool and a service that's accessible to everyone in the world. We have a lot more friction in our industry because we have to work with banking partners, and we have to work with regulators, and every local market has its own rules and regulations. So we're going to take our time because we want to do it right. We don't need to be first in market. We just need to be the best option out there.